everyone, this is Peshali. Welcome again. This is our second segment of well-being in the Let's Get Talking sessions. Before we get going, let's take a pause. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. If you listen to the first Let's Talk session on mental wellness, I talked about anxiety and how crisis brings about worry and anxiety for us, and how it's very normal for us to feel this way, and how crisis brings us opportunity. Then I went into an overall view of how we can manage this anxiety using techniques as breaking down our worries into real worries, excessive and hypothetical worry, and how we can use things like grounding, inner strength building, connectedness, and also using resiliency. That means the courage to use our past skills to get over things, to get over anxieties now. But today specifically, I'm going to talk to you about a few techniques that you can use to manage and reduce anxiety. The first one is called worry time or constructively worrying. What you need for this is a piece of paper, something which is easily accessible so you can write. So if you're not at home, you can also use your phone or any other media to write these down. And the other thing you need is to pick a time which is about 30 minutes of your day, not too close to bedtime or maybe a meal time, where you will have peacefully, you can sit and actually start worrying. Alright, so what you do is you're going about doing your thing during the day and a worry pops in. You go in and you write your worry in that piece of paper that you have reserved for it. I have given you a sheet which looks like a ladder and some rule sections to write your worry. You can download this from the description section from this segment, and you continuously write that. So each time a worry comes, you go write that, come back and continue with what you're doing. When the time has come for you to worry, the time you picked, you sit down, and the first thing you do is you look through all your worries, and you will put down how much percentage of anxiety that's causing you. So if it's let's say for example getting the virus, 100%, I couldn't finish a work project, 90%, I couldn't help my child with homework, 93%, I have not ordered food, 85%. So like that you'd rate it, and what you're doing is actually prioritizing your worries. Once you do that, you are going to problem solve. I have also given you a sheet for you to use if you like, and again you can download that. What you do is you take each one from the highest priority of the percentage, and you start get going on solutions, and you want to break those solutions also into smaller steps. Why you do that is when you can accomplish some smaller steps towards a larger problem, a solution, you also feel a sense of accomplishment. When you feel accomplished, you also feel like you are more in control, which also reduces anxiety. So you go ahead one by one and you start problem solving. If you don't get through that list during the allocated 30 minutes, I want you to stop and you continue the next day along with your other worries that you list. Okay, but within that 30 minutes, if you had worries that you couldn't find the solutions, they are most likely excessive or hypothetical worries, and it's time to let them go. So you want to tell themselves, these are worries that I have no control over, and you let them go. Okay, then you can use the same worry list and think to see whether the worries are reappearing. If the worries seem to reappear, I want you to see what triggers that, or what is the core issue that it's coming up. A quick example is if you, let's say, speak to someone, a friend, your anxiety level of the coronavirus actually exceeds, okay, and it becomes unmanageable. Then you can say, well, this brings me worried all the time, so I'm going to either talk about something else with this person, reconnect at a different level, or I'm going to give some of my suggestions, or maybe minimize the number of times you call that person, because it's very important to identify those triggers if it's over appearing. All right. Another section that I want you to focus on is called grounding. And grounding, I'm going to give you 3 techniques. First one is called self-talking, and grounding makes us really stable and it makes us feel like we can manage our anxiety. First thing is self-talking. You're going to get sentences that are very positive, and you're going to say them when you get worries, and you're going to distract yourself. So things like, I can do this, I have gone through difficult situations before, things will pass, I'm going to be very positive about it. Whatever you choose that fits for you. The other technique is called sensory distraction. So you get a worry into your head. What you're going to do is you're going to use your 5 senses to distract yourself. So you get a worry, you start looking around and say, what are 5 things I can see? What are 4 things I can hear? What are 3 things I can smell? What are 2 things I can touch? And what is 1 thing I can taste? What you're doing is you're using your senses to distract and do and see and hear other things rather than sitting and over worry. This is a very good technique also. The last technique I'm going to share with you today is mindfulness breathing. Mindfulness brings us to a place where we begin to be in the present moment and we start really responding to situations, especially in a crisis, than overreacting or reacting with impulsivity. It also brings us to a place of equanimity, which is calmness, steadiness, and that level-headedness we see. And the simplest technique of that is a breathing technique that I'm going to share with you. Breathing in for the count of 5, hold to the count of 3, and breathe out to the count of 7. Let's quickly try that. Breathe in, count of 5, hold, count of 3, breathe out to the count of 7. So continue to do that. Each time you get a worry, you can use any of these 3 grounding techniques to distract yourself. I want you to have some takeaways from today, and I want you to use constructive worrying. I want you to use the grounding techniques such as self-talk, sensory awareness, and mindfulness breathing to distract yourself from over-worrying. I have also given you a relaxation, a very simple other methods of relaxation techniques which also can be downloaded. But most of all, what I want you to remember is it is you who have the impetus, that is the drive to change, to manage your anxiety, right? So let's take the step of doing that. Let's get into doing our own plan of action to reduce anxiety. Thank you very much for listening. Please share this with friends, family, and other colleagues. We will also be bringing new segments of mental wellness through the Let's Talk sessions every 2 weeks. So until then, follow directions, be safe, and most of all, remember to take time to take care of yourself.